Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Socially Liyah. Just a reminder, my name is Kalia, but I like to go by Liyah. And in this podcast, I just like to talk about different current events and then just relate those to different terms in social psychology. So, getting into it, I want to talk about what happened at the British Academy Film Awards. And if you don't know what happened, this past Sunday, the British Academy Film Awards was held, and a man by the name of John Davidson, who is known to be a producer for a new movie that just came out, but also he has Tourette's. And he hurled the N word at Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo while they were giving their speech. And if you don't know, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo are two black men who are actors in the movie Sinners. Now, John Davidson said the N word not once, not twice, but 3 times. 2 of the times it was blocked out. The third time it was not because there was some type of delay in the live streaming.
Good evening. Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to celebrate the artists who expand what's possible on screen.
You may have heard some strong and offensive language tonight. If you've seen the film I Swear, you will know that film is about the experience of a person with Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is a disability, and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette syndrome has no control over their language. We apologize if you were offended.
First, I want to say Michael B. Jordan and Delroy did an amazing job at not reacting and not being expressive towards this person when it was live streamed and they were disrespected on live in front of their peers and audience. Not only were they disrespected, but they had to endure the pressure of everybody watching them and trying to remain professional while being disrespected. I mean, let's be honest, if someone said a racial slur to you, you would react. I mean, I know I would. I might not say something in the moment, especially in a professional setting, but I would definitely make a face. I'm not sure if they responded online or not, but they've done an amazing job of keeping up their professionalism. To be not only a black actor, but a black man in that setting, they're expected to act a certain way. They were expected to react it, and they didn't. Instead, they kept their composure, they finished their speech, and they didn't acknowledge it, which I can really appreciate. As for Davidson, I read that he left after blurting out the N-word. I felt as though he should have left after the first time. It shouldn't have taken him saying it 3 times towards those actors for him to leave. Not only that, it took him multiple days to come up with an apology, which he blamed on his Tourette's. I feel like it should have been addressed in the moment, and he should have apologized to those actors. Not only the actors, but the audience and every other black person in the room, because Michael B. Jordan and Delroy were not the only persons who were disrespected. Also, not stated before, he said these explicit words to only black actors. He didn't say when no other non-person of color was there, but when 2 black men were up there giving their speech. Now, he did apologize, which took days for him to actually apologize publicly to those actors. And in his apology, he states, "I have spent my life trying to support and empower the Tourette's community and to teach empathy, kindness, and understanding from others, and I will continue to do so." And then he also states, "It is a word I would never use and would completely condemn if I did not have Tourette's." Now, the last part, if I did not have Tourette's, again, he's blaming it on his Tourette's, which I feel like as though he's not taking complete accountability. And I feel like 2 things can be true at once, He did, his Tourette's caused him to have that outburst, but then again, it being directed toward those black actors, it could not have felt great for them to be humiliated and disrespected in front of their peers and on live, in a professional setting, which should never happen. Now, I think this relates to the social psychology term, the hypocrisy paradigm, which basically means a concept in social psychology that explains how people are motivated to change their behavior when they become aware of their actions contradict their own stated beliefs or values. In simpler terms, a person is aware of their conflict between their attitudes, which is him condemning the N word and while also being an advocate for things like Tourette's and wanting better for people in those communities, and how it contradicts his behavior, which would be him blurting out the N word towards black actors. Now, this hypocrisy creates a dissonance, which is a feeling of mental discomfort or tension that happens when your thoughts, beliefs, or actions don't agree with each other. And to reduce this, you would have to change your behavior. Now, I don't think it's fair for him to advocate for things like Tourette's and to say he condemns the N word and then goes and blurts it out to only black actors. And it's definitely not fair to those black actors. I think it paints him as a hypocrite. Now, it may be because of his Tourette's, but again, like I said, two things can be true at once. And I definitely know this isn't easy on him, as it's not easy on those actors. And it definitely did cause him some level of discomfort, especially for him to leave the award before they were over and to publicly apologize. He had to be uncomfortable at some level. And I think having this negative light on him is also like some tension, because again, he did have a new movie come out, and now it's just this negative view on him, which might go towards his movie. I did hear some theories that he did this just to get views towards his movie, which could be true, because then again, he has an alibi to blame it on his Tourette's. But I don't think he would, especially it being something so negative. I'm not gonna call him racist, because again, this is my first impression of him, which isn't a great one. But I don't know his history with people of color, and then his history in the past if he's done things like this before, which I don't think he has, but I'm not totally sure. But I do think for it to only be at black actors, I think at some degree he has to have some feelings towards people of color that he might not even be aware of. But I think this is a great example of implicit attitude, which are attitudes that are involuntary, uncontrollable, and at times unconscious. And like I said before, he has Tourette's, so to some degree it was involuntary for him to blurt those things out because he couldn't control it. And so his feelings towards people of color may have been unconscious, and he didn't know he felt that way, even though he's an advocate for people of minority communities. A more specific term that would describe this event would be a negative implicit attitude, which is an unconscious negative association toward a racial or social group. It can influence behavior when a person consciously believes they are not prejudiced. Like I said before, he condemns the N word, so he definitely believes that he's not racist or prejudiced to any degree, which I can't say I totally agree on, because again, I don't know him or his background, but there did have to be some type of negative connection for those people of color, like the black actors, and that derogatory word for him to be able to make that mistake and be able to slip up. So like I said before, he may be against being racist and using that word and those type of views, but there had to be some unconscious link for him to blurt their word out to people of color. And I'm not completely educated on Tourette's, so I don't know how it fully works. I know before I kind of thought, the word had to be in his vocabulary for him to even think of that word, because I know before I've seen a video of a person with Tourette's saying that, they would never say that slur, and they never have, and they never will. But again, I don't know how it works and I don't want to be ignorant. So it definitely could have been, a mistake, and it probably won't happen again. But I do think for it to only be towards black actors, it is a little, like, it makes me look at him sideways. I don't think he's racist or he should be completely condemned, but I think, it is uncomfortable for both sides, especially for Michael B. Jordan and Delroy, and for it to be public. Right, and that is the end of this episode. And thank you for watching. I hope I was able to shed some light on the situation that happened. And thank you.